Hello everyone. So you have created your awesome first Power BI report that has API connectivity. But this API has a secret and you have hard-coded the secret into your M code. Today I'm going to show you how to safely store the secret without hard-coding it into your M code. Let's go and take a look how this one is done. If you have any questions about any of the specific steps, I would recommend you to go to the blog post. The link is in the description and check every step on there. I have detailed every step as well as the Microsoft documentation that can help you to get into that. Now, this is not a Azure Key Vault deep dive, but still I need to explain you a couple things. I will go to my key vaults. In here I will choose the key vault that I already created for this case. And one of the things that you need to be aware of is that we are going to need this vault URI a couple times. So this vault URI, you will find it on the overview page, okay? The second thing that you will need to be aware, or you will probably need to deal with when working with Azure Key Vault, is the networking part. So basically in here I am allowing public access from all networks. This is because I am the owner of this tenant and the configuration is not complicated or complex at all. But if you go to certain customer or a different tenant which is more sophisticated, you will probably need to save list IPs. So you need to be well aware of that, okay? Now also in here you will need to be careful about the access policies. In this case my user, Oscar Martinez, is the one that I will access with, and it has all the permissions for using this key vault. So you might need to add in here certain Azure security groups, which is my recommended setup, but this is something that you will need to deal with. Everything that we will work with is secrets. So basically in here I have already created one secret, which is for the service that is called Clockify, which is a time tracking service which I use a lot. Okay, so now that we have understand that, let me show you also something else that you are going to need. And basically the other thing that you are going to need is this mess file for the for the custom connector. So there is not a connector that gets the information from Power BI, a native connector from Power BI, from the Azure Key Vault into Power BI. There is no, we don't have this native connector in Power BI. So this is why I had to grow this custom connector, and custom connectors always have the .mes file. So in order to download and have access to this custom connector, you will need to go to our vip.pro webpage, and in here at the bottom you will find the enter your email. Once you enter your email to subscribe to our newsletter, you will have access to our Key Vault, to this OneDrive. You will receive an email with a URL and the password to get access to this OneDrive, where you, among other nice things that I am sharing with you, you will find the .mes file. Okay, now we will need to save this file in a custom in a couple of places. The first place that we are going to save the file is on this path, which is PC, or my PC documents, Power BI desktop, and custom connectors. Again, if you have questions about this, go to the blog post. I have pasted in there the documentation for using custom connectors, Power BI custom connectors. But basically, Power BI desktop will be always looking into this folder to see if it finds a custom connector, and if it finds the custom connector, then it will have it as available in the sources that you can choose in Power BI desktop, the data sources that you can choose. So it's important that you save it in here, okay? The second folder that we will need to save this custom connector is on the gateways custom connector folder. Basically, this will be required if you want to automatically refresh from the service. So basically in here, the service will also need and require what are the instructions and the path to know how to connect to the service, which all these instructions are in the custom connector. And you will need to save it on the custom connectors folders for the gateway. Okay, so if you have the gateway, and I will show it to you in here, my gateway. If you go to the connectors section, you will find the folder where the gateway is searching for the connector. So these are the two places where you will need to save your connector, okay? So now I will download this connector and I will save as. I will save it on my Power BI desktop folder first, okay? I will save. And then what I will do in here is that I will copy Ctrl+C and I will paste it on the folder for the gateway. So now we have the custom connector in both places where we need it. I will now minimize these windows because we will not need them anymore. Now, I have opened and I have pre-created in here a Power BI file. And this Power BI file, as I earlier told you, we are going to use the Clockify API. I will go in here to my advanced editor and show you a bit the query. So basically what this query is doing is that it's calling the workspaces endpoint from the API, Clockify API. And this API is configured in a way that you need to put into the headers the XAPI key, which is the key that that I have already stored in my Key Vault. And as you see in here right now, I have hard coded this secret, and we don't want to hard code this secret, okay? Because basically to have a more secure API and more secure also encode, okay? So this is what we don't want to do. So let me close this one. I will disable the load temporarily for this workspace. Remember, once more, I have already saved in here in my Power BI desktop custom connectors folder, the Azure Key Vault connector. And the next thing that I will need to do is I will need to go to File, Options and Settings, Data Source Settings. Sorry, it was not Data Source Settings. It was Files, Options and Settings. I need to go to Options. And in here, in the Security tab, you need to allow any extension to load without validation. Okay, so basically we do this for being able to use our custom connector. So this is a required step for you. Let me click on OK. And now I will click on New Source. I will click on More. And here in More, I will search for Azure Key Vault. And we see that the connector is already in here. I will select it and I will click on Connect. I will be asked for the Vault base URL. And remember that this one we obtained it from the overview of our Key Vault. I will copy I will copy my this URI, and then I will head back to Power BI. I will paste it and I will click on OK. I will be required to sign in, and in here when I am signing in, let me show you that actually I will be signing in with the same user that has access to this Key Vault. It can be also a security group, right? And the user should be in that security group. So basically you need to use the credential that has access to the Key Vault. I will select this one. I will click on Connect. And now you see that I have access to the Clockify secret that I have already previously saved. I will click on OK. And this one I will name it Secrets. This query I will name it Secrets. Okay. So now let's test that this is actually working. I will go back to my Key Vault, and in my Key Vault I will create. In my Key Vault I will create a new secret, and this will be new test secret, and the secret value will be new secret. I will click on create, and I have created a new test secret. Then I will head back to Power Query. I am refreshing, and you see that the new, actually I misspelled here, but the new secret was created. So we know that the connectivity is working. For this API to work, we will need to do something else. Because right now I will close and apply. This has errors because it was the previous query that we disabled. And we have in here now what is the secrets. Okay, so now I will save it and I will publish it to the web. I have already created a workspace that is called Key Vault. And I am publishing this one to the service, okay? So now we already created the connectivity between Power BI Desktop and the Key Vault, right? So we know that this one is working. But in order for being able to refresh from the service, right now we will need to refresh, and we want to refresh from the service. For this, we will need to create a data source in our gateway. So for this, I will need to go to my Manage Connections and Gateways. And in here, in Manage Connections and Gateways, I will create a new connection. I will choose the cluster that I am currently using, the data source name, which you can choose it, and the data source type. In here, you see that I have available Azure Key Vault. And basically, I have available Azure Key Vault because it is safe on the folder where our gateway is looking for the connectors. So that's why we have it available as a data source. So if you chose the wrong folder, you will not see it in here. Now we will need the URI. Remember that this one is in overview. I copy the value and I will paste the URI. We select OAuth 2. I will edit the credentials once more, the user that has access to the vault. And I will skip the connection, privacy level organizational, and I will create the connection. You see that the data source was successfully created. Now I go back to my workspace. In my workspace, I go to settings. And in settings, I will go to gateway connection. If this gateway connection doesn't appear in here, sometimes you need to go in here, it will appear an error message that you will need to click on search for, it says something like search the path or something like that. You need to click on there so the gateway drop down or this gateway section appears. And now in here on the gateway, I need to map this to the data source that we just created, and I will click on apply. Okay, so now we have applied this mapping. I will go back to my Key Vault, and in here, remember that we have created and we have two to-do secrets, right? Let's test that this connection is working. I will go back to secrets. I will create a new secret. This will be new secret 3. The secret will be new secret 3. I will create the new secret. In this case, I will go back to my workspace. I will refresh. This should take a couple seconds, around 5 seconds. Now I will go back to my report. Right now we are seeing a cached version of the report, so I will refresh. And you see that the new, again, I misspelled it, the new secret 3. Okay, so we know that the connectivity is working. Let's go back to our Power BI desktop. And let's use this one in our workspace query, which I will enable the load once more. Okay, so in this case, I will refresh once more. And we know that we are going to request and we are going to need a Clockify. So I filter by Clockify. Then I right click on the secret value and I will drill down. So we have in here the value for the secret of Clockify. Now something again additional that I will do, I will go to the advanced editor and I will move everything that we have in here, all this line of code, to a single one. So I will cut this section and I will paste it here. Basically what this step is doing is that it's requesting the first line and the value, secret value, and the field secret value of this first line. So this is base 0, so this is why the 0 is the first line. And then I will cut the connection to Key Vault, and I will replace it here in source. And basically I'm doing this to have everything under one step. Okay, I need to delete this comma. Then I will rename this step, and this step will be named API key in, which is an, remember that in Power Query, in is our output step, API key. I will click on done, and we see that it's actually working fine. So I will go once more to the advanced editor, and I will copy all the row in here, and then I will go here to my workspaces. And remember that this is my API call where we have hard-coded the secret, and this is something that we don't want, okay? So I will paste in here the code that we created earlier. I will create a comma to indicate that there is a new step. Then I will replace this text that we have in here, that it's the secret for the API key, and I will click on done. I will continue the privacy levels, organizational. I will save, and you will see that our connection to the to the Clockify API is still working. Let me show you something additional in here. I will go to View, I will go to Query Dependencies, and you will see how our workspace query has two dependencies, one that is coming from the API from Clockify, and the second one that is coming from the Azure Key Vault, which is actually dropping the secret that later will be used by the API, by the Clockify's API. I will click on Close. We don't need this one anymore, so I will disable the load. So we have our workspaces. Once more, I will go to the advanced editor, and you see that you will be able to see that nowhere in the advanced editor is this code or is this secret hard-coded. Basically, what we are doing in here is that we are making a request to our Key Vault, authenticating with actually our Azure Active Directory. The secret that we are requesting is the one that is called Clockify. And this secret Clockify is actually being used as the header of the API, but nowhere is hard-coded. And this is what it brings an additional layer of security to our APIs, right? So in case someone gets access to the Power BI desktop file, they will not have access to the key if they are not authorized on Key Vault, okay? So basically the query will fail when they try to open it in their with their computers. So I will click now on done. I will come here to home. I will close and apply. This one will fail because the fields, they don't exist anymore. So let me just delete them, and let me just add these ones from workspace so we know that it's working. I will save. Then I will publish this one into our Key Vault. I will replace the dataset, and then I will head back to our workspace in Power BI service. We are going to our workspace, and now did you notice this is something which is right now, before we only had this connection available, right? And now we have included the API, and basically Key Vault is calling, and we also saw it on Power Query. Key Vault is making the request to the Key Vault. Sorry, the data set is making the request to the Key Vault, so we can get the API, and we are making a call to the Clockify for this data set. So now we are pretty sure that this will work. Now I will click here on refresh now. Let me just quickly go to settings, and the refresh is in progress, but it was already completed. It was pretty quick, this API. It didn't even took like 2 seconds to complete. Well, I hope you find useful this video and also that you like it. In the description of it, I will include a URL or the link for the step-by-step guide of everything that we see in here. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we see you next time. Bye-bye.